Have you ever logged into a system and just gotten a weird vibe? Something feels a little bit off. You know, it looks like a computer, it acts like a computer, but you start to wonder, is this real hardware or is it a really clever imitation? Well, today, we're putting on our digital detective hats to find out for sure. So, here's the big question we're tackling. On the surface, a virtual machine and a physical one can look pretty much identical. But if you know where to look, they leave behind all sorts of digital fingerprints that give away the truth. And believe me, knowing how to find them is way more important than you might think. So why should you even care? Well, for a few huge reasons. If you're in security, you absolutely have to know your environment. For malware analysts, get this. Some sneaky malware will actually change its behavior if it knows it's in a virtual sandbox. And hey, if you're a network admin, a clean system inventory is everything, right? Knowing what's real and what's virtual is always step one.
All right, let's start with our first clue. And honestly, this one's usually the easiest to find. It's almost like a direct confession from the machine itself. We're going to check the manufacturer information that's tucked away in the system's BIOS.
It really is this simple. Think about it. A physical machine is proud of its brand, right? It'll say Dell or HP or Lenovo. Well, a virtual machine does the exact same thing, but its brand is the company that made the virtualization software, like VMware, Oracle VirtualBox, or Microsoft Hyper-V. The answer is often literally hiding in plain sight. Okay, so how do you actually get this info? It's super easy. For your Windows folks, a quick wimit command will do the trick. And if you're on Linux, dmydecode or systemdetect virt will spill all the secrets. Just pop one of those into your terminal, and boom, you might have your answer right then and there.
But what if the manufacturer name is super generic or doesn't tell you anything? Okay, no problem. We just need to dig a little deeper for stronger evidence. So let's move on to our next clue. And this one is the digital equivalent of a perfect fingerprint. I'm talking about the MAC address.
So what is a MAC address? Basically, every single device that connects to a network, your phone, your laptop, whatever, has what's called a media access control address. Just think of it like a permanent, unique serial number for its network card. And since virtual machines need virtual network cards, guess what? They get their own special kind of serial number too. And here's the really cool part. The big virtualization companies like VMware and VirtualBox, they use specific registered prefixes, the first few characters of that serial number. So if you spot a MAC address that starts with, say, 00C29, you can be almost 100% sure you're on a VMware machine. This, my friends, is the smoking gun. Finding this fingerprint is a piece of cake. If you're on Windows, just open up your command prompt and type in the classic ipconfig/all. It'll spit out a bunch of info, but you're looking for the line that says physical address. That's your MAC. And for all you Linux detectives out there, your command is just a simple iplink show. That'll give you what you need. Just find that MAC address, match the first few characters to one of the known vendor prefixes, and bam, case closed. Now I really want to drive this point home. Out of all the tricks we're talking about today, checking that MAC address prefix, it is by far the most reliable method. This piece of evidence, it's solid. It's almost never going to steer you wrong. Okay, so we've got our prime suspect locked in, but a good detective never relies on just one piece of evidence, right? It's time to build the rest of the case by looking for corroborating clues. Let's start digging into the other hardware components. Because if it's a VM, you better believe the other parts are going to be virtual too. First up, let's look at the network adapter itself. You know, on a physical box, you'd see brands like Intel or Broadcom. But on a VM? Oh, the names are a dead giveaway. You'll see things like VMware VMXNet or Hyper-V Virtual Ethernet adapter. I mean, come on, sometimes the word virtual is literally right there in the name. It's not exactly subtle. And it's the same exact story when you look at the storage. Check out the disk controllers. You're not going to find the usual suspects you'd see in a real machine. Nope. You're going to see names like VMware Virtual SATA Controller or Microsoft Hyper-V SCSI Controller. It's just another blinking neon sign telling us we're not in the physical world anymore. And finally, let's talk about what's missing. Because sometimes the most powerful clue is the absence of evidence. A virtual machine, it's not going to have a beefy physical graphics card. It won't have specific firmware details for a motherboard. And here's my personal favorite, a VM will never, ever have a battery. So if you're on a machine that looks like a laptop, but the system says no battery found, ding, 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 you're almost definitely in a VM.
All right, we've gathered a mountain of evidence. Let's wrap this up and put together your official digital detective kit.
So here's your simple 3-step playbook. Step 1,
check the manufacturer. It's quick, it's easy. Step 2, for the real confirmation, go for the MAC address prefix. That's your most trustworthy clue. And step 3, back it all up. Look for those obviously named virtual parts, and just as important, look for the real hardware that's missing. You follow those 3 steps, you'll have your answer, guaranteed.
And just like that, our investigation is closed. You've now got all the skills you need to tell the difference between what's real and what's virtual. Which leaves us with just one last question. Now that you know how to spot a VM, what else is hiding in plain sight on your network?